Hey everyone, and welcome back to the English Coffee Talk Show. I'm Eva, and as always, I'm here with the one and only James. James, good morning. Or, well, good whatever time it is for you listeners out there.
Good morning, Eva. Good morning, everyone. Although, I have to say, my morning did not start great today. Not great at all.
Oh no, what happened? And wait, before you even answer that, I have to tell you about my morning first because it was a whole disaster. So I'm making my coffee, right? I just woke up, I'm still half asleep, I'm reaching for my mug, and I don't even know how this is physically possible. I knocked the entire full cup of coffee off the counter.
No, the whole thing?
The whole thing. All over the floor, all over my socks, all over the cabinet. I just stood there for like 10 seconds, completely frozen, staring at this brown puddle on my kitchen floor, and I thought, okay, today is going to be a day. I had to make a whole second cup and I was already late.
Oh, that is rough. That is really rough. Coffee on your socks is genuinely one of the worst feelings. It's cold and wet and just, ugh. Okay, my morning wasn't as dramatic as that, but I was on the subway and this guy next to me, he fell asleep standing up. Fully standing, holding the pole, eyes closed, head drooping.
Standing up? How is that even possible?
I know. And then he startled himself awake and looked around like he had no idea where he was. And I wanted to say something, but I also kind of respected it, you know? That man was tired and he just committed.
He committed. That's honestly a skill. Okay, and the weather today, did you see it? It was sunny, then cloudy, then it rained for like 3 minutes, then sunny again. I genuinely looked outside 4 times and got 4 different answers.
Right? The weather has been so weird lately. I gave up trying to figure it out and just brought an umbrella and a pair of sunglasses and called it a day. You just gotta be prepared for everything.
That is actually very wise. Okay, so speaking of being prepared, and this is a little bit of a transition, but bear with me. I was sitting at home last night, finally, with a proper cup of coffee, and I was reading through some of the messages our listeners have been sending us. And so many people said that they find it easier to talk in English when they're talking about something they love, something they actually care about.
Oh, that is so true. When you're passionate about something, the words just come, right? You're not thinking, oh, what's the grammar rule here? You're just talking.
Exactly. And that's what inspired today's episode. We're talking all about passion, how to talk about the things you love in English, the vocabulary and phrases that come up naturally in those conversations, and of course, we'll be sharing some of our own stories. So this is today's topic. Talk about your passion.
I love it. And I already know this is going to go in about 15 different directions because once you get me started on the things I love, I cannot stop. Fair warning to everyone listening.
That's exactly why we're here. Okay, James, let's do it. What are you passionate about? Like truly passionate about? Not just, oh, I kind of like this. I mean something that lights you up.
Okay, so, and this might surprise some people, I am absolutely obsessed with urban photography, like street photography specifically. Just walking around a city with a camera and capturing these little moments that most people walk right past without ever noticing.
Oh, I love that. And obsessed with, that's such a great phrase to notice right there. When you're obsessed with something, it means you think about it constantly. You pour your energy into it. It's stronger than just, I like it. It has that intensity to it.
Yes, totally. And obsessed is definitely the right word. I got into photography, well, I picked it up about 4 years ago. I was going through kind of a stressful period at work, and a friend of mine handed me her old film camera and said, just try it. And I went out one Saturday morning with absolutely no idea what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked around for about 3 hours just noticing things. The way light hits a wet street after rain, an old man sitting on a bench feeding pigeons, a kid pressed against a shop window looking at something. And by the time I got home, I realized I hadn't checked my phone once. I completely lost track of time.
Oh, lost track of time. Can we just pause on that for a second? Because that is one of my absolute favorite phrases in English, and it comes up so much when people talk about their passions. To lose track of time means you become so absorbed in what you're doing that you completely forget to watch the clock. Time just disappears.
Exactly. And that's honestly such a sign that you found something you love, right? If you can do something for hours and it feels like 20 minutes, that's the thing. That's your thing.
That is such a good point. So, what happened after that first day? Did you go out again?
The very next morning, I woke up early, like voluntarily, without an alarm, which never happens, and I just wanted to go back out. I bought my own camera 2 weeks later, and then I started researching everything. I completely dove into the world of photography. I was watching documentaries about famous street photographers like Henri Cartier-Bresson, reading books, joining online communities.
Dive into? That's another great one. To dive into something means to start exploring it deeply and enthusiastically. Like you just jump in head first, right? You don't dip your toe in, you dive.
Yes, and I really did. I was watching tutorials at midnight, going out on weekends, experimenting with black and white versus color shots. It took me a while to get the hang of the technical stuff, like understanding aperture and shutter speed. But once it clicked, it was like a whole new language opened up.
Oh, get the hang of. I love that you use that naturally. So, for our listeners, get the hang of something means to gradually learn how to do it until it starts to feel comfortable and natural. Like the first time you drove a car, it felt overwhelming, but then eventually you got the hang of it and it became second nature.
Perfect example. And honestly, photography is something I'm still getting the hang of in some ways. There's always something new to learn, but that's part of what I love about it. Do you have a go-to spot, like a location you always come back to when you want to shoot?
Wait, actually, before you redirect it to me, tell me about a specific moment, like a photo you took that really stayed with you.
Oh, okay, yes. So there was this one time I was in Lisbon, Portugal, just wandering around early in the morning, like 6 a.m., before the city woke up. And I found this narrow little street, cobblestones, old tiled buildings, morning mist still hanging in the air. And there was a woman standing at an open window, holding a cup of tea, just looking out. She had no idea I was there.
Oh, wow.
I took one photo, just one. And when I saw it later, I thought, that's it. That's exactly why I do this. It was just this tiny, quiet, human moment, and I managed to catch it. That photo is framed in my apartment. It's probably the thing I'm most proud of that I've ever made.
James, that is genuinely beautiful. I got chills a little bit. That's the thing about passion, right? It drives you to create things that actually mean something. And drive, that's actually a word I want to highlight for our listeners. When we say someone has drive, we mean they have this powerful inner motivation that pushes them forward. It's not just wanting something, it's that deep inner force that makes you get up at 6 a.m. in Lisbon with a camera.
Exactly. That is the drive. Okay, so now it's your turn, Eva. What's your passion? What gets you going?
Okay, so mine is cooking, but not just cooking in general. I'm specifically passionate about learning recipes from other cultures and then making them at home from scratch. Like completely from scratch. No shortcuts, no store-bought sauces. And I've been this way since I was about 15 years old.
Since 15? That's young. Where did it start?
So my grandmother, my dad's mom, she was from southern Italy. And when I was growing up, every Sunday we would go to her house and she would spend the entire day in the kitchen. Like she'd start at 7 in the morning making fresh pasta by hand, rolling it out on a wooden board, cutting it herself, making the sauce from tomatoes she'd actually grown in her garden. And the smell, oh, the smell of that kitchen was like nothing else in the world.
Yeah.
And I started standing next to her, just watching. And she'd let me help. She'd give me little jobs like stirring or rolling the dough. And by the time I was 15, I was cooking alongside her properly. That was really where it began. She was the fuel for all of it.
Oh, that's such a sweet image. And I love that you said fuel, because we use fuel as a metaphor all the time in English when we're talking about passion. Something that fuels your passion is something that feeds it, powers it, keeps it alive. Like your grandmother was the fuel that kept your love of cooking burning.
That's perfect. Yes, she absolutely was. And then when I moved out on my own, I wanted to keep that feeling going, but I also wanted to explore beyond Italian food. So I started picking up recipes from different countries: Japanese ramen, Moroccan tagine, Georgian khachapuri, which is this incredible cheese bread, by the way, if you've never had it.
Oh, I've heard of that. Is it as good as it sounds?
It is better than it sounds. It's bread filled with cheese with a whole egg cracked on top and a piece of butter. It's indulgent and amazing. Anyway, so I started picking up these recipes, and pick up is one of those really versatile phrasal verbs in English. To pick something up means to start learning it informally, kind of naturally, without necessarily taking a formal class. Like, I picked up a few words of Spanish on my trip, or I picked up knitting during lockdown.
Right, exactly. It's that kind of casual, organic way of learning, not structured, just absorbed. So, what's your process? When you want to learn a new dish, where do you start?
So I always start with research. I want to understand where the dish comes from, what region, what the history of it is, because food tells you so much about a culture. Then I'll watch videos, usually home cooks making the recipe, not professional chefs, because I want to see how it's actually made in someone's kitchen, not in a fancy restaurant. And then I just try it. Usually it goes wrong the first time.
That's so real, though. The first attempt is always a learning experience.
Always. My first attempt at ramen broth, I simmered it for hours and it was just watery. Nothing. But I tried again, and eventually I got it right. And now ramen is my go-to dish when I want to impress someone or when I just want to spend a whole afternoon in the kitchen. My go-to. That means the thing you always turn to, your reliable favorite, the thing you default to. Like, what's your go-to coffee order? Or what's your go-to movie when you need cheering up?
I love that. My go-to movie, by the way, is Spirited Away, just for the record. Okay, but I have to ask, are you keen on the social side of cooking, like cooking for others, or is it more of a personal, meditative thing for you?
Ooh, both, actually. But I'm really keen on cooking for other people. And keen on, James just used that very naturally. It means enthusiastic about, interested in, fond of. It's a very common expression, especially in British English. I'm keen on hiking. She's not very keen on spicy food. So yes, I'm very keen on feeding people. There's something incredibly satisfying about watching someone take a first bite of something you spent hours making and seeing their face light up.
That's so wholesome. I feel like when you're doing something you love, you're just completely in your element, like nothing else exists.
Yes, in your element. That's such a good one. When you're in your element, you're doing exactly what you're best at and what makes you happiest. You feel confident, comfortable, completely at home. Like James, when you're out in the city with your camera, you're totally in your element.
100%. Nothing else matters in those moments. No stress, no to-do lists, just me and the camera and whatever's happening around me. And I think that's the magic of having a passion, isn't it? It's like a reset button for your brain.
It really is. And I think this is actually such an important point for our listeners who are learning English, because when you talk about something you're passionate about, you naturally use richer, more expressive language. You reach for metaphors, you use more vivid vocabulary, you speak for longer. Your passion becomes a tool for your language learning. How cool is that?
That's such a great observation. And it works the other way, too. Learning the English vocabulary for your passion helps you go deeper into it. You can read more about it in English, watch more content about it, connect with more people who share that interest. It's this beautiful cycle.
Completely. Okay, I want to ask you one more thing before we start to wrap up. James, has photography ever connected you with people you wouldn't have met otherwise?
Oh, absolutely. That's actually one of the best parts of it. I joined this photography walk in my city, just a group of strangers who meet every month and walk around together taking photos. And some of those people have become real friends now. There's this retired teacher who shoots film exclusively, and a 22-year-old who only shoots portraits. They're incredible, and I would never have crossed paths with either of them otherwise.
I love that. Passion really does create community. It pulls people together. Same with cooking for me. I started following these online cooking forums years ago, and now I have friends all over the world who I bonded with over recipes. It sounds a little nerdy when I say it out loud, but I genuinely treasure those connections.
Not nerdy at all. That's just passion doing its thing. All right, I think it's time we start wrapping up, as much as I could honestly talk about this all day.
Same. Okay, let's do a little recap of all the vocabulary and phrases we covered today because there were some really great ones, and we want to make sure they stick.
All right, so first we had obsessed with, that intense enthusiasm for something you love and can't stop thinking about.
Then lose track of time, getting so absorbed in something that you forget to watch the clock, always a sign of true passion.
We had pick up, that informal, organic way of starting to learn something. I picked it up, just sounds so natural in everyday conversation.
Dive into, to jump headfirst into something, to explore deeply and with excitement.
Drive, that powerful inner motivation that pushes you to pursue what you love even when it's difficult.
Fuel, the things or people or experiences that power your passion and keep it alive. Your fuel could be a memory, a person, a moment.
Get the hang of. Gradually learning something until it starts to feel natural and comfortable. Everyone goes through that awkward stage before they get the hang of it.
Go to, your reliable favorite, the thing you always come back to when you need it, your go-to song, your go-to recipe, your go-to way to relax.
Keen on. Being enthusiastic or fond of something. I'm keen on early morning walks. She's really keen on learning Japanese. Very natural, very useful.
And in your element, being in exactly the right environment for you, doing what you do best, feeling completely at home and alive. That's our favorite one, I think.
Definitely. Okay, so here is your challenge for this week, everyone. Think about your own passion. It doesn't matter what it is. Maybe it's music, or gardening, or gaming, or dancing, or coding, whatever it is. And try to describe it using at least 5 of the phrases we talked about today.
You could write it down in a journal, you could record yourself speaking, or you could even post it in the comments or send it to us. We would love to read your stories. Seriously, nothing makes us happier than hearing what our listeners are passionate about.
And if you're enjoying the English Coffee Talk Show, please subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications so you never miss an episode, and if you have a moment, leave us a review. It genuinely means the world to us, and it helps other English learners find the show. Every single review makes a difference.
It really does. We put so much love into every episode, and knowing that people are out there listening and learning and enjoying it, that is our passion. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
All right, everyone, that's a wrap on today's episode. Go find your passion, talk about it in English, and remember, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be curious.
Love that. I'm Eva.
I'm James.
And this has been the English Coffee Talk Show. Go make yourself a cup of something delicious, and we'll see you next time. Cheers!
Cheers, and maybe don't spill it this time, Eva.
No promises. Bye, everyone.